Hey, this is Patrick Arthur with Jazz Guitar Today. Today's video is going to be the start of a series of videos on different blues forms. When I hear the word blues on a gig now, kind of a couple of things might come to mind, and this will hopefully clear those things up so that you know which type of blues you're playing. Today's video, we're going to be going over this just a standard blues, which is kind of the building block to get into all these other blues. You know, we have the minor blues and a jazz blues and a bird blues. That again we'll get to later. This particular blues is commonly called the 5/4 blues, or I hear it called a 3-chord blues sometimes as well, and I'm sure there's a lot of other names for it. But it all revolves around a dominant chord. Every single chord that you hear in this tune is a dominant chord. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's just simply the 1, 3, 5, and flat 7 of any given key. So in this case, we'll do a F blues today. So the first chord would be F, which is the root, A, which is the third, C, which is the fifth, E flat, which is the flat 7. Okay, and then all the other chords that we experience will also have 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Now, as far as the form, a blues is just 12 bars or 12 measures that you're going to repeat over and over again. So you would have a melody, and then when the melody is done being played, then typically people take turns playing solos over the blues, and you're still playing these same 12 measures of chords or harmony over and over again. So since it's 12 measures, we break it into 3 4-bar phrases. The first 4 measures typically is just the 1 chord. And again, today we'll be in the key of F, so we would just have an F7 for 4 measures. Now, there are lots of variations that exist really with each type of blues that we'll talk about in all of these videos. And the best way to learn them and get used to them is really to just play them a bunch. So I would recommend, you know, put on a blues record and play along, figure out the key, and then see what they might do differently than what I'm going to show you today. But what I'm showing you today is, again, kind of the bare bones building blocks. So if you understand this will give you a good foundation to build on. One really common little variation, just to give you one, is in the first 4 bars. Many times, instead of just playing the 1 chord for all 4 measures, you'll hear the 1 chord for a measure, and then they jump to the 4 chord for 1 measure, and then back to the 1 chord for 2 measures. So that would sound like this. Here's starting on F. 1, 2, 3, 4, F7, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to the 4 chord, which is a B flat, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the first 4 measures. I should also say I'll be demonstrating all of this using the number system. If you're not familiar with that, it's a really good way to get used to learning tunes in all 12 keys. So when I said I went to the 4 chord, if you start from the 1, which is F, again, the key of our blues today is F. So if I start at F and just count up, F, G, A, B flat. That's our 4. And to reiterate, this blues is all just a 1 chord, 4 chord, and a 5 chord. So before you start, you could even go figure out your chords that you need. So you have an F chord, which is a 1 chord. We just found out that B flat was a 4. And then we need to figure out what the 5 chord is for later, and that's going to be F, G, A, B flat, C. Okay, they're all dominant chords. So if you had to do a blues in any other key, all you have to do is figure those 3 chords out. Okay, on to the second phrase, or the second 4 bars. You would go to the 4 chord, which we just discovered was a B flat. You have 2 measures of B flat, and then back to 2 measures of F. So 2 measures of the 4 chord, back to 2 measures of the 1 chord. Would sound like this: 2, 3, 4, B flat, B flat, back to F7. And then the final 4 measures, our last phrase, we go to the 5 chord, which is the C chord, to a B flat 7 chord, which is the 4 chord, and then a 1 chord, which is F. And then usually if you were going to repeat back to the beginning to take another solo or whatever, you would play a 5 chord in the final measure. I should have said earlier, there's a PDF that'll be with this video, so you can be following along. It'll really help to see all of that as I say it. Cool. So I'm going to play through the full chorus, and then maybe talk about some other things. So here's an F blues. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 1 chord. We'll go to the 4 chord, B flat. Here's F7. Here's our second phrase. Here's B flat 7 for 2 measures. Another measure. Back to the F7 or the 1. Here's our 5 chord, C, 4, B flat, F. And if we were going to repeat, I might go back to the 5, and now I'm back at the beginning. And we would just go over and over and over and over and over again. Again, when people play this, it might not be exactly the same every chorus. You might hear them maybe the first time they don't go to the 4 chord in the first 4 measures. Maybe they do. So you want to just, this is a really good way to start if you're not used to doing any ear training and hearing those things for yourself. It's a really good way to start. So you can use this this PDF that I have as kind of a template, and then see what you hear differently when you hear some of these great blues musicians play the blues. Cool. So hopefully that will get you started. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at patrickarthurmusic@gmail.com, and be on the lookout for some other videos coming soon about the blues. Thanks.